We start this evening with Senator Ben Cardin, Democrat of Maryland. Senator, first of all, thank you for joining us this evening. It's perfect time to have a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee with us. Being that this is right ahead of President Biden's trip to Poland tomorrow, he will speak to the world and Ukraine's NATO allies from the same location he did last year when he told the world that Russian President Vladimir Putin could not remain in power. But as the war enters its second year, he must now contend with a Republican majority in the House that has threatened to end unequivocal aid to Ukraine as this war drags on. Your thoughts on that and the upcoming anniversary of this war, Senator?
Reverend Sharpton, first, it's good to be with you. President Biden has shown tremendous leadership globally in helping the Ukrainians defend themselves. I don't think anyone thought that we would have this type of unity that is continuing now as we enter the second year of this unprovoked attack by Russia on Ukraine. We saw President Biden provide the necessary help so the Ukrainians could defend itself. I must tell you, at the Munich Security Conference this week, we saw unity among both the Democrats and Republicans that were there saying that we do need to continue to support Ukraine in these efforts. But I would acknowledge we have challenges in the House of Representatives on the Republican side. This is not a time for us to weaken in our defense of Ukraine. They're the front line of defending democratic states.
Let me ask you another foreign relations question, Senator. Last week, the U.S. has called off its search for several aerial objects shot down earlier this month. These unidentified objects dominated the news for a few days when they were first spotted. President Biden played down any link between these objects and a Chinese surveillance balloon shot down off the South Carolina coast earlier this month. Still, that incident added to tensions between the U.S. and China. What can you tell us about the conversations you've had in the Senate on the Foreign Relations Committee regarding the spy balloon or any of these unidentified objects? Should people be concerned about the security of our airspace?
I think the fact that we were able to discover the balloon and take down this spy balloon indicates that we're ahead of the curve in defending our national security. There's no question that China violated our airspace. They were using it for spying purposes. We were able to track it and shoot it down and make sure it could not compromise our national security. I think this demonstrated that the United States can defend its borders. And I think the president handled it right. The other flying objects, we don't know enough about it yet. It might have been just innocent use of space where they shouldn't have been. It could have jeopardized the safety of commercial flights. So the president did the right thing to make sure that public safety was prevailed.
You announced this weekend that Maryland has received $5.1 million from the Safer Communities Act, the bipartisan gun control package that passed in the Senate over the summer. That money will go toward gun violence prevention in your state. And Senate Democrats this week reintroduced a bill that would expand federal background checks for all gun purchases in the aftermath of the shooting at Michigan State University last week. Can we expect to see this Senate, where Democrats have a very narrow majority, pass more gun control legislation in this next 2 years?
Well, first, let's applaud the passage of the Safer Communities Act. It was the first time in over a decade we were able to pass significant gun safety legislation. And it will have an impact, as we see right now, money coming to Baltimore and Maryland to help in regards to violent crime. We also are providing help to our schools to deal with behavioral health issues. So that was an important first step, but it's a first step. We need to do a lot more. I agree with Senator Murphy's bill in regards to background checks. I also support abolishing these assault weapons. There's a lot of things that we can do to make it safer for our community. We have too many guns on the streets. We need to continue to pursue sensible gun safety legislation. I know that we're going to try to do that, but I'll be perfectly frank about this. don't have a lot of confidence that the House of Representatives will advance gun safety legislation.
Senator, we thank you for being with us. But before I let you go, I want to bring in my next guest, the governor of Maryland, Wes Moore. And I know you both want to tell us why you think it's very important that the new FBI headquarters be built in your state of Maryland. You and the state of Virginia have just over a couple of months to make your final pitches to the General Services Administration. So very quickly, maybe 30 seconds each, tell us why it should go to Maryland. Senator, you first, then Governor Moore.
Well, first, I'm so excited about Governor Moore, being on with Governor Moore. He's providing great leadership in Maryland. Prince George's County is the right place. It's the best value for the taxpayers, and it's the right location so the FBI can carry out its mission. But it's also a matter of basic fairness. Prince George's County has been denied the types of federal facilities that the other areas around Washington have had. This is the right decision for the FBI. It's the right decision for the taxpayers, and it's the right decision in regards to social justice.
Governor?
The senator is absolutely right, and I'm thankful for his leadership on this. This is a legacy-defining decision for this White House, and for a White House that has been so focused on ensuring that there is fairness and equity in the way these decisions are made. The clear answer really is Prince George's County. Also, when you think about the FBI, their current mission and increasingly their future mission is going to be around cyber threats. And if you think about the state of Maryland is the home of the NSA. The state of Maryland is the home of U.S. Cyber Command, the University of Maryland. It is home of 4 of the best HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities in this country. So there's a workforce pipeline. When you include that with the transportation assets that Prince George's County has, when you conclude it for the fact that we will beat any other jurisdiction on cost, and you include that with the administration's commitment to equity, the true decision is going to be Prince George's County. So we feel very good that that the decision for the FBI building to be in the state of Maryland aligns deeply with this legacy-defining decision that the federal government is about to make.
All right, let me thank you both on that. Thank you, Senator Cardin. Let's stay with Governor.